Be me, Violet Hayes, 29, marketing coordinator at a decent agency in Austin. I've been with Ryan for 4 years now, and honestly, he's great. Software engineer, stable, patient, treats me well. Sometimes too well, actually. He's always trying to fix me like I'm some kind of project, like 3 months ago. I'm scrolling TikTok at 2 a.m. when Ryan rolls over and suggests, for the 100th time, that maybe I should try sleeping earlier. I'm tired all day, I'd complained earlier that week. Maybe because you stay up until 2 scrolling, he'd said. I put my phone down hard. Stop trying to control my body. I'm an adult, Ryan. I'm not trying to control you. I'm worried about you. This is literally what patriarchy looks like, policing women's choices. He just sighed and rolled back over. I told myself I'd won that argument. Then there was the food thing. I order DoorDash maybe 5-6 times a week. Sue me, I'm busy. One night, Ryan's cooking and suggests maybe we could meal prep together on Sundays, cut back on the takeout. Wow, so you think I'm fat now? I said. What? No, I just think you'd feel better if... My body, my choice, Ryan. You don't get to have an opinion on what I eat. He put the spatula down. You literally complained yesterday that you feel sluggish all the time. So now it's my fault I'm tired? Maybe if you were more supportive... He walked away. I finished my Chipotle bowl and felt completely justified. The apartment thing was probably the worst fight. My place is lived in. Dishes in the sink for a few days, clothes on the floor. I can never find my keys. Ryan tried suggesting a cleaning schedule. I'm not your maid, I said immediately. I didn't say you were. I'm just saying if we're going to move in together eventually. Oh, so you want a housewife? Got it. How very 1950s of you. Violet, that's not what I meant. I just think if we're serious about a future where I clean up after you, pass. He looked at me for a long moment. You know I clean my own place, right? I'm talking about basic adult responsibility. Don't patronize me. But the moment I think about most happened 2 weeks ago. We were arguing about something stupid. I can't even remember what. And I was losing ground. He had a point, and I knew it. So I said it. You know what? Fine. Maybe you're right, but I'm not going to admit it because then you win. I can't just let you be right about everything. Ryan stared at me. Actually stared, like he was seeing me for the first time. This isn't about winning, Violet. I'm trying to help you. By making me feel like I'm not good enough? By constantly criticizing me? I've never once said you're not good enough. You don't have to say it. He left that night. Went home to his own apartment, even though he usually stayed over. I told myself he was being dramatic. I told myself a lot of things. When the company announced the annual work retreat, 3 days at this resort outside San Antonio, I was actually excited. Get away from the tension, have some fun, come back refreshed. I didn't expect the conversation that would change everything. The resort was nice. One of those places with a pool that looks like it spills into the horizon, overpriced drinks, the whole thing. Second night, a bunch of us ended up at the pool bar. Me, Priya from HR, Marcus from sales, James from operations. Marcus was on his 3rd margarita when he turned to me. Violet, you and Ryan have been together what, 4 years? When's the wedding? Everyone laughed. I laughed too, but I felt it. That little twist in my chest. Priya jumped in immediately. Why do people always ask women that? So patriarchal. Fair, fair, Marcus said, hands up. I'm just saying, 4 years is a long time. James, who'd been quiet most of the night, muttered into his beer. Marriage is a trap anyway. The energy shifted. Someone asked what he meant. James took a long drink. Nothing. Just make sure you know what you're signing up for. That's all? He looked exhausted, like genuinely drained. My kid's therapist costs $200 an hour, and my wife thinks therapy is the problem, not our son's behavior. But what do I know? I'm just the dad. Awkward silence. Priya changed the subject to something about Q3 projections, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. 4 years was a long time. Why hadn't Ryan proposed? We were good together. I was educated, independent, attractive. What was he waiting for? I texted him that night, little buzzed. We need to talk about us. He replied an hour later. Everything okay? I didn't respond. The next evening, back in Austin, I brought it up. Ryan was making dinner. He always made dinner at my place because I didn't have the energy most nights. What are we doing? I asked. He looked up from the cutting board. What do you mean? It's been 4 years, Ryan. He set the knife down. I know. So, are we getting married or what? His face did this thing, like he was choosing his words carefully. Violet, I need to think about it. I felt like I'd been slapped. Think about what? You either see a future with me or you don't. It's not that simple. It literally is that simple. Yes or no. Can we talk about this later? No. I was getting louder. I'm not waiting around forever while you think about it. I need to know where this is going. Ryan looked at me, really looked at me, and for a second I thought I saw something like sadness in his face. Give me a few days, he said quietly. Please. I wanted to push harder, but something about his tone made me stop. Fine. A few days. He nodded and went back to cooking. I went to the bedroom and stress-scrolled Instagram for an hour. I told myself he was just afraid of commitment. Typical guy stuff. He'd come around. He texted me 3 days later. Can we meet at Common Grounds? Need to talk. I felt relieved. Finally. Either he was going to apologize for being weird, or maybe he'd actually decided to propose. Maybe the pressure made him realize he didn't want to lose me. I showed up ready to forgive him for making me wait. That's not what happened. Ryan was already there when I walked in, coffee in front of him. He looked calm but serious, not nervous proposal serious. Something else. I sat down. So, I've been thinking about what you said about marriage. And he took a breath. No, I'm not going to marry you, Violet. The coffee shop noise seemed to get louder and quieter at the same time. What? I can't marry you. I'm sorry. Are you fucking serious right now? A couple at the next table glanced over. Ryan stayed calm, which somehow made it worse. I am serious. Why? My voice cracked. Because you've shown me for 4 years that you don't actually respect me, and I'm not signing up for a lifetime of that. That's bullshit. I respect you. No, you don't. You fight me on everything. Not because I'm wrong, but because you need to win. That's not... You literally told me that. His voice was steady, not angry, just factual. 2 weeks ago, you said, I know you're right, but I won't admit it because then you win. My stomach dropped. I'd said that. I remembered saying that. Ryan continued, and every word felt like a hammer. I've tried to help you. Sleep schedule, eating better, keeping your space organized, basic stuff that you complain about constantly, and every single time you turn it into me being oppressive or controlling. Because that's what it feels like. No, it feels like accountability, and you can't stand it. He started listing things, specific things. You complain you're exhausted every day, but when I suggest sleeping earlier, I'm policing your body. You say you feel like crap, but when I suggest cooking more, I'm fat-shaming you. You lose your keys 3 times a week, but when I suggest getting organized, I'm expecting you to be a housewife. You're twisting everything. You want me to care about you, but the second I actually do, it's a problem. I tried to find my footing. So you want some submissive trad wife who just does whatever you say? Ryan almost laughed. No. I want a partner who can hear, hey, maybe try this without turning it into a gender war. I want someone who can admit when they're wrong. I want someone who's on my team. I am on your team. Are you? He leaned forward. Because for 4 years, you've treated this relationship like a competition. Like you're doing me a favor by being with me? I opened my mouth, closed it. You've mocked my hobbies in front of your friends. Multiple times. Remember last month at Rachel's birthday? You told everyone I collect comic books like a man-child. Everyone laughed. I just stood there. I felt my face get hot. I'd thought that was funny. Just a joke. You've compared me to your exes. Derek would have taken me to that restaurant. Michael always plans surprises. You say it like I'm supposed to compete with them. I didn't mean. You've kept guys around who clearly want more than friendship. That guy from your gym, Tyler, who texts you at 11 p.m. asking if you're up. When I said it bothered me, you called me insecure, said I was threatened by you having male friends. He's just... I know what he is. You know what he is. But you liked the attention more than you cared about how it made me feel. I couldn't look at him. You told me you want kids someday, but you also said you'd never sacrifice your career or lose yourself to motherhood. Which is fine, but what does that actually mean? That I'd be doing everything while you maintain your independence. You're twisting my words. I'm just listening to what you've told me. He sat back. You want a marriage where you get all the benefits, commitment, stability, partnership, but none of the compromise. You want me to lead, but not make decisions. Provide, but not have opinions. Support your choices, but never question them. That's not a marriage, Violet. That's servitude. My hands were shaking. So this is it? You're just done? Ryan's face softened, which was somehow worse than if he'd been angry. I love you. I really do. But love isn't enough. I've watched you refuse to grow for 4 years. I can't marry someone who fights me on becoming a better version of themselves. People can change. Not if they don't think they need to. I felt tears coming. I fought them. So what? You just get to decide I'm not good enough? It's not about good enough. It's about compatible. And we're not. Not for marriage. Not for a life together. He stood up. I hope you figure it out, Violet. I really do. But I'm not the person to do it with. I wanted to argue, wanted to fight back, but I couldn't find words. I stood up too, grabbed my purse, and walked out. I made it to my car before I started crying. He didn't follow me. I called in sick the next day, and the day after that. When I finally went back to work, Priya immediately pulled me aside. What happened? You look terrible. I told her everything. She was appropriately outraged. He's threatened by your independence. Honestly, V, you dodged a bullet. He sounds like a narcissist. I wanted to believe her. I really did. At lunch, I was still venting about it. Priya, Marcus, and James were there. Marcus was sympathetic. Priya kept calling Ryan controlling, but James had been quiet the whole time. Finally, he set his sandwich down. Can I tell you something? We all looked at him. My wife, Emma. When we got married, she was a lot like you, Violet. Progressive, strong opinions, feminist. It was great at first. Priya rolled her eyes. Here we go. James ignored her. Then we had kids, and everything changed. He explained how Emma refused any traditional parenting. No discipline, no boundaries. Gentle parenting taken to the extreme. Their 8-year-old son, Caleb, was out of control. Violent tantrums, kicked out of 2 schools. The therapist said he needed structure and consistency, but Emma won't allow it. Any discipline is authoritarian or toxic masculinity. I try to set a rule. She overrides me right in front of him. He hits her. She says he's expressing big feelings. He's 8 years old and he runs our house. James looked directly at me. His eyes were bloodshot, like he hadn't slept in days. Last week, Caleb threw a plate at the wall during dinner. Shattered everywhere. I told him to go to his room. Emma said I was reacting from trauma and that we needed to hold space for his anger. He's never faced a consequence in his life. And now, I see what I've created. What we've created. He took a shaky breath. I can't leave. Family courts favor mothers, especially in this state. I'd see my kid every other weekend while she destroys him. I'm trapped. I go to work to escape my own home. I'm just the paycheck and the bad guy. The table was silent. Ryan's smart, James said. Marriage is forever. Divorce is financial suicide for men. If you can't even admit you're wrong about little things, sleep schedules, cleaning, imagine what happens when it's big things, when there's kids involved, a mortgage, life. Priya started to argue, but James cut her off. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm telling you what nobody told me. I wish someone had. I wish I'd seen the signs before I signed that marriage license. I left work early that day. That weekend, I went to my brother Danny's place for dinner. Danny's 32, married to Leah for 4 years. They have a 3-year-old daughter, Emma. Dinner was chaos from the start. Emma was throwing food, screaming, wouldn't sit still. Danny tried to intervene. Emma, we don't throw food, sweetie. Leah immediately snapped. We don't use that tone with her. She's expressing herself. Danny looked exhausted. He tried again, softer. Emma hit him in the face. He tried to take her out of the high chair. Don't manhandle her, Leah said sharply. That's traumatizing. Danny backed off. Emma continued destroying the table. Leah didn't even look up from her phone, just kept scrolling while her daughter screamed and threw pasta. After dinner, Danny and I were alone in the kitchen. He was scrubbing marinara sauce off the wall. You okay? I asked. He laughed, but it was hollow. Do I look okay? Danny, don't do what Leah does, he said quietly, not looking at me. Whatever Ryan said to you, listen to him. Really listen. What are you talking about? I heard you guys broke up. Mom told me. Of course she did. Ryan's a good guy, Donnie continued. If he's pulling back, there's a reason. Trust me. You guys seem fine. Danny stopped scrubbing, turned to face me. I can't even parent my own kid, Violet. Everything I do is wrong. I suggest something. Leah says no. I try to discipline. I'm authoritarian. I want structure. I'm patriarchal. I'm just the paycheck and the bad guy. His voice cracked a little. Sound familiar? I didn't know what to say. Have you talked to her about it? You can't talk to someone who thinks they're always right. He went back to scrubbing. She's not a bad person. I love her, but she needs to win. Every time. And it's killing us. From the living room, we heard a crash. Emma had knocked over a lamp. Leah's voice. It's okay, baby. Accidents happen. Danny didn't even go check, just kept scrubbing the wall. I drove home in silence. The next day, I met my friend Sarah for coffee. Sarah's known me since college. She's always been the wise one. I broke down and told her everything. Sarah listened. Then, do you think he had a point? What? I've known you for 10 years, V. You're stubborn as hell. You'd rather lose than admit you're wrong. Jesus, not you too. I'm not attacking you. I'm asking, do you think maybe there's some truth to what he said? I wanted to say no. I opened my mouth to say no, but I couldn't. Sarah continued, my cousin Jenna married a guy like Ryan. Sweet girl, smart, pretty. But she had to win every argument, had to be right about everything. They're divorced now. She's 35, single, bitter. And she still talks about him like he was the one who messed up. I don't want to be like that, I whispered. Then don't be. I went home and couldn't stop thinking. About James and his destroyed life. About Danny trapped in his own house. About Ryan's face when he said, I love you, but it's not enough. I told myself I wasn't like Emma or Leah. But was I? I couldn't sleep that night. Or the next. I kept replaying everything. I checked Ryan's Instagram at 2 a.m. I know. He'd posted a gym progress photo. He looked good. Really good. The comments were full of fire emojis. Women I didn't recognize. One of them. Looking great. See you at the trail Saturday? My stomach twisted. Saturday came. I checked his stories. He was hiking with a group. 3 women were in the photo. They all looked happy. He looked happy. I texted Priya. He's already moving on. She called immediately. Block him? Delete the app. He's not worth it. But Sarah texted something different. Maybe you should talk to him. Apologize. I spent 2 hours writing and deleting texts. Finally sent, "Can we talk? I think I get it now." 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, "Sure. Same place? Tomorrow at 2? I showed up 15 minutes early, ordered a coffee I didn't drink. Rehearsed what I'd say. Ryan walked in exactly at 2, sat down across from me. "Hey," I said. "Hey." I took a breath. "I'm sorry. You were right. About a lot of things." He nodded, waited. "I've been stubborn. I see that now. I can change. I want to change." Ryan was quiet for a moment. "I believe you mean that." Relief flooded through me. "But I'm not interested in being the guy you learn on." The relief died. "What?" "You spent 4 years showing me who you are. I believe you. And now that I'm walking away, suddenly you see it. That's not growth, Violet. That's fear of loss. That's not fair. People can change." "They can, but not for someone else. They have to want it for themselves." He looked sad. "You didn't want it when I was there every day trying to help. You want it now that I'm leaving?" I was crying. I didn't care who saw. "I love you." "I love you too. But that's not enough." "Then what is?" "Respect, partnership, someone who wants to build something together instead of fighting me every step of the way." He leaned forward. "You know what the sad part is? I would have married you in a heartbeat if you'd just let me in. If you'd let me be on your team, instead of treating me like the enemy." "I never thought of you as the enemy." "Didn't you? Every suggestion was a battle. Every conversation was a debate. I was always one wrong word away from being oppressive or controlling." "That's exhausting, Violet. That's no way to live." "I can be better. Maybe you can. I hope you will, but it won't be with me." He stood up, put money on the table for my coffee even though I hadn't touched it. "I hope you figure it out. I really do. For your own sake. You deserve to be happy, but you're the only one standing in your way. Ryan, take care of yourself, Violet." He walked out. This time I knew he wasn't coming back. I sat there for 20 minutes. My phone buzzed. "Mom, Dad's asking when you're bringing Ryan to Sunday dinner. It's been a while." Another text. "Priya, girls' night Friday. You need to get out and have fun. Plenty of fish." I looked at the coffee I hadn't drunk, the money Ryan left, the empty chair. I was 29 years old, single. The man who actually loved me, who tried to help me be better, was gone. And the worst part? The part I couldn't say out loud to anyone? It was my fault. I knew it was my fault. I'd known it the whole time. I just couldn't admit it because that would mean he won. And look where that got me. I picked up my phone and stared at his contact. 4 years of texts. 4 years of good morning and love you and be safe. I scrolled all the way back to the beginning. To when we first matched, to our first date, to the first time he said he loved me. Back when I thought I was lucky to have him, before I started treating him like he was lucky to have me. I deleted the text I'd been drafting. Another apology. Another promise to change. He was right. I'd had 4 years to change. I didn't want to. Now I did. And it was too late.